Let's begin with business and immigration law. This is a proud presentation of attorney Ramesh Khurana, who is the chief attorney and counselor at law at the Khurana Law Firm, situated in the heart of Gaithersburg, Maryland. This morning, our moderator, attorney Kenneth Haber, questions attorney Khurana on green card cases and cross-changeability. Let's take a look.
Welcome. I'm Ken Haber. I'm a former assistant United States attorney and a former senior attorney from the Office of Inspector General of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. With me today in the studio is Ramesh Khurana. Ramesh is a world-renowned attorney with clients from across the world, even though he practices right here in Gaithersburg, Maryland, because of the federal nature of immigration practice. And he's here to shed light on a very complex area. Thank you, Ramesh, for coming on in.
Thank you, Ken. I do agree with you that immigration laws are very complex in nature, like tax laws.
Yes.
So again, as you and I always advise the audience, whenever you are stuck in some immigration situations, always talk to an experienced and knowledgeable immigration lawyer.
That's right.
Who are really immigration lawyers.
Absolutely. And this is the Capitol Forum.
We are here.
We are here.
Yes.
Ramesh, are you ready to answer some questions concerning caps on green cards?
Yes, Ken, I am ready.
Very good.
This is a very important concept.
Yes. Can you please explain a little bit about what sort of caps there are and how they're determined, and who gets what?
Ken, it's very important to understand the concept of cross chargeability, because you are asking me a question like, what are the caps? Because supply and demand issue. Now, demand for green cards for the aliens who are coming to the United States, whether they are coming through the door of employment process or through family process, that's enormously higher than the supply available. If you look at the family-based green cards, there are just 226,000 per year. And if you look at the employment-based cards, these are just 140,000 per year, where we are talking about preference categories. Now, the problem is demand is much more higher for some people of specific nationalities, especially we talk about India and China. There is a per country ceiling, like no nationality can grab more than 7% of the annual quota. So that's the problem.
So one little country has 7% and India has 7%.
7%. So if a person comes from Nepal, and if you start his employment-based process, probably he or she can get a green card within 1 year. But if we are talking about a person who was born in India, it may take 7 years, it may take 12 years, depending upon EB2 category or EB3 category, except EB1 category, where the priority date is always current. So that's why this concept of chargeability is very important and is of great significance. Like, you have to understand what are the other favorable options, and the law sets for those kinds of options.
And what are the other favorable options?
Favorable options. Here the concept is that of the cross chargeability. Now, let us say husband and wife. Husband is born in India, and wife, to relate to our previous example, was born in Nepal. If the husband is the principal applicant for the employment-based card and she is the derivative beneficiary, so you can basically enjoy the most favorable chargeability for the wife, which is from Nepal, as there are not many applicants. So that way your green card process will speed up and it will get wrapped up in the shortest possible time. So here the most important thing we have to remember is, Ken, it is the country of birth, not the nationality.
So a person who's in India cannot necessarily just take up citizenship in Nepal and say, now I'm a Nepalese, so I get in faster because I'm a Nepalese, because that's not his nation of birth.
You are 100% right. So we look at the birth certificate. It happens so, like many people from India and Pakistan, they move to Saudi or UAE, and there they continue to hold their country's visas because UAE doesn't give their country's passport. So their nationality continues to be the nationality of their birth, like I'm talking about parents. But if a child is born in UAE, though passport will be of Indian, but birth certificate is that of UAE. So based on the birth certificate, that child, if he has moved here and employment based process has been started, so that child can take the benefit of his birth because he was born in UAE. Or likewise, if his spouse was born in UAE, but this person was born in India, he can take the benefit of the birth certificate.
What about, say, somebody from India where they got a 10-year wait, goes and has a child in Nepal, maybe an Indian woman, but that child was born in Nepal. Can they then use that child's birth status to get the child and them into the United States?
Unfortunately, no. Parents cannot take the advantage of their child's birth because it is the parent who is the applicant for the green card. So one parent can take advantage of the cross chargeability when it's more favorable in respect of the spouse, whether principal applicant or derivative beneficiary. That is possible, but parents cannot take, but child can take the benefit in certain situations. But in your fact pattern, unfortunately, answer is no.
What's the most important aspect of cross chargeability when we're thinking about citizenship and immigration over here?
In terms of the cross chargeability, I would say the magic word is birth country, birth country, birth country. Where were you born? What is your birth certificate? I come across people who were born in India, they have moved to Canada and they have got the Canadian nationality and Canadian passport. That doesn't mean that because this person who was born in India has now acquired Canadian nationality becomes entitled for the cross chargeability of Canadian. No, he will be charged only for the country of his birth, which is India. That's why keep the birthplace in mind.
If you have a child that's 18 born in say Nepal, then that 18-year-old should be able to apply for United States immigration and then bring his parents over?
You know, that's very true. If the child is born in Nepal, so basically that child is going to be charged against the chargeability or against the quota of Nepal. And once that child becomes a green card holder, now a green card holder's son cannot file a petition for his or her parents. So that child has to become a US citizen.
Then he can.
But you know, this process has moved much faster because his birth was in Nepal. So probably if he applied for employment based process at the age of 24, he would become the green card holder at the age of 25. Then he has to wait for 5 years to become the US citizen, you know, and then he can apply for his parents.
So it's long-term planning, but compared to some of these quotas where you got 1 billion people in a country and only 7% of the
Ceiling is there.
Ceiling is there.
Believe me, Ken, it makes a lot of difference, you know. Now there are certain cases we talk about EB3 category for India. Now people who applied in 2004, they are still stuck. They are still stuck because their priority date is not becoming current. And if that person comes from Nepal within 1 year or that person comes from Pakistan, Bangladesh, it moves much faster. India and China, because when we are talking about H-1B petition, because this is how most of the professionals under the employment based category, they come under H-1B program. Now, there is a quota of 85,000, 65,000 for undergraduate people who are holding bachelor degrees and 20,000 for US master degree holders and above. So, out of 85,000, I would say about 60 to 70% of these numbers, they are grabbed by people of Indian nationality. So, once they are here, they want to settle down in this country. Hardly I see any person who has come here would like to move back to his country, barring a few people, which you can count on your basically fingers. So, everybody wants to settle down in the United States because of the quality of life and the opportunities you have in the corporate world. So, people would love to work here, whether they are working in labs, you get your experimental material right away, you get the guidance and you get the encouragement. And if you are sitting in a country which is basically not in a position to afford funding for the research, they are unable to provide the requisite raw material chemicals. You need one chemical, it takes 15 days to come. What the researcher is going to do?
Right.
So, because of the wonderful opportunities available in the United States, people like to work here and not many people like to go back. And that is why demand is more, supply is less. That is why you have to look for the chargeability option if you are stuck for your green card.
People don't often in this country appreciate what they have. We can drive from here to there, and in most of the country, not every place in the country, most of the country, you don't have to worry about bullets going whizzing by you and that somebody's going to come out and rob you and things like that. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately, but this is really a blessed country, and the fact that proves it is how many people want to come here.
I agree with you. I agree with you, definitely. That's why this country has become a superpower, because talented people from all over the world, they come and adopt this country as their homes, and they want to shine and they do their best and they are excelling in their fields.
That's absolutely true. Every wave of immigration from the 1800s on just brought more and more people of who everyone else in the beginning say, oh, we don't want them in. But as they come in, they get assimilated and they just bring all the good talents. And I'll tell you that there's something about somebody who's willing to pick up and leave from their comfort of wherever they are, even if they're being mistreated. They're used to their comfort of being mistreated, and they're willing to get up and go into the unknown. And those type of genetics is what makes this country great.
That's true. I agree with you. Yeah. And that's why we are having more demand for the green card, and that's why we are talking about the cross chargeability. This is interesting. Let us say a person who came to the United States, he was single and he filed the application for the green card. He has been stuck for 4 or 5 years, and after that he started courting a lady who probably was born in Nepal or Canada or Pakistan. Now, after marriage, you can take the benefit of more favorable cross chargeability, and your green card process will get wrapped up very soon. So, in that kind of situation also, it becomes very helpful.
Yes. There's a concept of chargeability for foreign nationals who are born in the United States but not U.S. citizens. Can you please explain that a little?
Yeah, sure.
I've always thought of people being born in the United States, they automatically get U.S. citizenship.
But children who are born to diplomats.
Oh, really?
They don't become U.S. citizen by birth.
I see.
So that's the problem area. Otherwise, you are right. Any child which is born here becomes U.S. citizen, but exception is that of diplomats' children.
Or if you're a politician, somebody might say you're not an American citizen.
Yeah, so just diplomats' children, they are not eligible to become. So, my dear friend, cameraman is indicating that time is over.
Yes.
So now I think we are got to wrap it up.
I'd like to thank you again for coming from your Gaithersburg offices to elucidate upon some of the timely topics of immigration to our viewing audience. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
I thank you.